a formal speech, because that's just me, so I wrote a little script tonight. And I'll tell you, the credit for the transitions of the slides was my 12-year-old. So the fancy part was all him. So entrances, exits, and life in between. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, if not entirely in deed. But this past March, I finally made it official with the launch of Electric Moon Theatre Company. I didn't reach this point overnight. It is, of course, the latest transition in a lifelong series. Some have been incredible and exciting. Others, as you'll see, were downright terrifying. And taken together, every up and down has made me who I am and has steered me towards entrepreneurship. No? There we go. I grew up in Montreal, the oldest of 3 sisters with 2 extremely creative and supportive parents who encouraged us to follow our dreams. I have always been a fan of theater and performing, but at age 13, 2 things happened that truly upped the ante. My fancy transitions are gone. Oh, no. Oh, we can see that one. See, I was always creative. There you go. Oh, the fancy transitions went away. He had things flying, and anyways. At 13, 2 things happened. First, I won the lead role as Peggy Sawyer in 42nd Street, my high school musical. I grew up in Montreal, so high school was grade 7 to 11. Second, we took a family vacation to New York City for the first time, where I saw 5 Broadway shows in 4 days. Suddenly, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. After 5 years of starring in high school musicals and several additional trips to New York City, I was sure I was on my path to Broadway, stardom. But then, in a blink of an eye, my life turned upside down. It was April 1994. I was 17 years old. High school graduation was just 2 months away. I was working part-time and saving money to attend a summer theater school in England. I would be starting college with a major in theater in the fall. Best of all, I had won the lead in my final high school musical, Bye Bye Birdie, with opening night only 2 days away. Thing was, I'd also been feeling run down with a cold that wouldn't go away, and when my parents took me to the doctor, who then sent me to the hospital, the bomb was dropped. I was diagnosed with leukemia at age 17. This is not as dramatic as I want it to be.
Carrie, aim it at the projector.
One. Okay. No?
Carrie, aim it at the projector.
Here.
Yeah.
Six part. There we go. Okay, go back. Sorry. No. I think because the batteries, it's slipping out. Okay, there we go. There we go. While my friends were moving on, no, it's having a mind of its own. Can I just click the arrow? There we go. Okay. Oh, there's the transition. Okay, well, there's one before, but you saw the pictures briefly. While my friends were moving on and beginning their post-high school lives, I was in the hospital fighting for mine. I never got to perform in that final high school play, never went to England, never got to attend even my high school graduation. And though I tried to be as optimistic as possible throughout, those 2 years of treatment were the most terrifying I had ever experienced. No, I would never want to relive them again, but strangely, I can tell you, I wouldn't change them, not for a second. 23 years later, I can confidently tell you that I firmly believe that things happen for a reason. Cancer will always be a part of who I am. It also contributed to who I am, leading me to the job that started it all. In 1995, after my first year of treatment, I was hired as the music and drama director at Double H Hole in the Woods Ranch in Lake Luzerne, New York, one of the hole-in-the-wall gang camps founded by Paul Newman for kids with critical illnesses. Little did I know it would be the first in a series of jobs where I came to build a theater program that didn't previously exist. Over my 4 summers at camp, I wrote, directed, choreographed, and produced the weekly talent show, with a big musical number for every single one of the 24 cabins. Sounds like an ordinary task for a theater person, but these were no ordinary kids. They had everything from cancer, HIV, sickle cell anemia, spina bifida, Down syndrome, and more. But no matter their diagnosis, I found a way for every child to perform. And for the first time, I witnessed the true magic of theater and how it can change lives, spurring imagination, building confidence, and instilling self-esteem. To be honest, working with those kids achieved the same for me, and I knew I wanted to continue to work with children and theater in some capacity. I also met my husband there. He's over there in that picture. He was the counselor. Summer romance. And many of the skills I developed, by the end of my 4 summers there, it was a fully realized music and drama program. And many of the skills I used there are methods I still implement in what I do to this day. After graduating from Emerson College in Boston, with a Bachelor of Fine Arts and Performing Arts, I moved with my boyfriend, now husband, to New York City, where I could finally pursue the dream I had since I was 13, to become a famous actress on Broadway. And will it go? Oh, there we go. I went to every audition I could find, acted in numerous plays and musicals, did voiceover and commercial work, served as a teaching artist for Camp Broadway, and performed regularly in children's shows. These are snippets of one of my first headshots, different shows, program covers. In 2001, I became the Director of Family Programming for New York City's Vital Theatre Company. In short order, I reinvented their approach to theater for children, expanding their program into one of New York's most successful family-friendly theaters, where audience of 5 or 6 had once been the story. Sold-out shows and packed audiences became the norm. In my 5 years at Vital, I commissioned, where's the Vital slide? There we go. In my 5 years at Vital, I commissioned over 20 original musicals for kids, directing, producing, and marketing each, gaining valuable experience and skills that serve me to this day. Though I was only an employee of the theater, I was given complete control over the development and implementation of the program, essentially learning the ropes of an entrepreneur. In 2005, after my first son was born, my husband and I realized we didn't want to raise a kid in the middle of Manhattan, least of all a 1-bedroom cubbyhole on the 5th floor of a 5-story walk-up. So after almost 7 years in New York City, we headed north. Shortly after moving to Richmond Hill, I heard that a brand new performing arts center would be opening. And although the building we know today as the Richmond Hill Center for the Performing Arts hadn't even been built yet, I did some digging and scheduled a meeting with Michael Gritt, the theater manager. And over the next several years, eventually with 3 children in tow, I proceeded to keep my face and ideas in front of Michael, even writing up a 5-year plan for his education program, showing him why I should be hired as their education coordinator. Unfortunately, a job then didn't quite pan out, but another opportunity to work with them did. In 2009, New York's Vital Theatre and I agreed to bring their hit children's musical, Pinkalicious, based on the best-selling children's book, to the Toronto area. So once again, back to Michael Gritt at the Performing Arts Center I went, booking the Plaza Suite in what was now open and the brand new Richmond Hill Center. Pinkalicious was a huge hit. Its original 6-week run was extended to 6 months in Richmond Hill, and then moved down for other lengthy runs at the Al Green Theatre in Lower Ossington. I managed the entire production on my own, producing, marketing, promoting, casting, hiring, accounting, merchandising, and PR. You'd have thought it was my own company, since Vital staff was in New York. Bottom line, I again proved to be an effective entrepreneur, albeit running someone else's business. In 2011, after my daughter was born, my youngest, and following the success of Pinkalicious, I agreed with the Richmond Hill Center and Michael Gritt to start co-producing family shows. Our first show was to be Freckle-Faced Strawberry, based on the book by actress Julianne Moore. I even started my own company, Carrot Cake Theatre Company. Clearly not the name I went with this time around, but as the budget for the show began to balloon, I realized it was too big of a financial risk and I backed out. No matter how sensible my decision, the setback was still crushing. In retrospect though, I don't think that company of mine would have succeeded. Little did I know I needed the next transition to happen first. 1 month before my daughter's first birthday, I got a call from Michael Gritt. Finally, after years of my hounding him, he had a job for me. His education coordinator was resigning and the position was mine if I wanted it. 24 hours a week, starting in 4 weeks, the timing could not have been better. Plus, with 3 kids at home, it offered the perfect balance of work and family. When I began at the Richmond Hill Center, they offered a series of small school shows and a couple of poorly attended summer theater camps, with some canceled sessions due to low enrollment. But over the next 5 years, I created, implemented, and oversaw a complete education department, including summer theater camps, After school, weekend, and lunchtime theater classes, guest artists in the classroom and pre-show workshops, and a series of 13 education shows. And I actually did a slide, or I did a screenshot of each one of my covers over my 5 years of all the different education programs and some of my kids' staff, and my own kids performing. Did it work? Well, in my first year, total show attendance for the series of education shows was about 5,000 kids, soaring to over 15,000 in my last year. As well, the camp program boomed. This past summer, there were over 200 kids on the wait list alone. Better yet, the program helped foster a diverse community of theater kids throughout Richmond Hill, including my own, who were summer camp regulars. The program grew faster than Michael and I had anticipated. I was passionate about my job. I loved what I was doing and the relationships I was forming with schools, teachers, and my staff. As the years passed, however, it was clear I could no longer keep the program afloat with part-time hours. I worked and treated the job as if it was full-time. It was a necessity, as I was now running a department. In January of this year, the town of Richmond Hill voted on their 3-year budget plan, and I found out my position wouldn't be going full-time until at least 2019. Even then, there was no guarantee. The news hit me hard. What was I doing? I considered this job to be my career, and though my program had grown, I wasn't being given the chance to grow along with it. I can tell you that's a really awful, awful feeling. All the time, effort, and dedication I put in, I expected to be at the Richmond Hill Centre for a long, long time. That's when it occurred to me, I could leave tomorrow, and I could be doing this for myself. So after a few weeks of turmoil, do I stay, do I go? I resigned. The timing was right. I now had a clear picture of what my company would be and how I could make it work. And with that, I introduce to you Carrie Libling's Electric Moon Theatre Company. My first day at my new job felt just after March break of this year. I have chosen to focus on the areas of theatre education I love the most, bringing arts education into schools through guest artists in the classroom workshops, lunchtime and after-school theatre classes, plus I'm producing musicals for families and launching a touring company that will travel across Ontario. I am lucky enough to still have my very strong relationship with Michael and the Richmond Hill Centre, and he has been so supportive throughout, has even given me tips on where I can go with my company, and my first 3 musicals will actually be performing there. My network of educators and my relationship with them remains strong. The news of my own company has already translated into numerous school bookings, show tickets are selling, and I receive daily inquiries about my workshops and tours. My 3 children are older now and totally supportive, helping any way they can. From data entry to creating social media ads. This was a night of not doing homework, but helping me with my business a couple weeks ago, and my daughter helping at a recent event. My 10-year-old has actually negotiated his pay rate with me. He told me it could be $1 an hour, but I don't even have to pay him if he doesn't work the full hour. It's like a steal. It's great. I know the road ahead won't always be easy, and until the money truly starts coming in, I continue to lie awake most nights worrying. I also realize that unless you've been one, most people don't really have a concrete idea of what it is like to be an entrepreneur. Here are some quotes. Oh, that's so nice. You can do whatever you want all day now. It's like you're a stay-at-home mom. You're so lucky you can make your own schedule and work from home. What do you actually do all day? The freedom must be great. First, no, I'm not a stay-at-home mom. It's great because yes, I can be there after school, but I actually had to explain to someone last week that it's 2 totally different things. Yes, I do get to make my own schedule, but that entails working all day and most days well into the night. There will be vacations, of course, but no more real vacation as I can never truly close up shop. And what is it I do? Well, to put it simply, the answer is everything. Plus about 10,000 other things. I am the founder, the owner, the assistant, the secretary, the bookkeeper, artistic director, and the receptionist all rolled into one. Yes, it's crazy and scary, and I am loving every single minute. I am hoping Electric Moon will do what I've been trying to do for my entire career, fill the void for arts education and produce high-quality family programming, and this time on my terms. I learned at a young age that life is short and transitions, good and bad, can happen at the drop of a hat. This may not be the life in theater I dreamed about as a child, and no, I'm not on Broadway, But I can tell you that without a moment's hesitation or doubt, I love where life's transitions have taken me and the career path I now follow. Thank you.